Welcome to the Equipped Agronomy Podcast, where we bridge that gap between seeding equipment and agronomy. This is presented to you by Borgo Industries. My name's Curtis DeGoyer, agronomy manager here, and with me, friend of the show,
friend of the show,
Mr. Jeff Strukoff.
You know what, Curtis? I'm so appreciative of the fact that you have me back.
Well, we had such a great time last time. I thought, let's get you back.
Yeah.
Let's get you back in here.
You know what? I really enjoy doing this. We can kind of banter back and forth and
It's perfect. Really.
Discuss a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So today. Now, you always blame or say I don't warn you. I did give you a little information on this one. So a little bit. I got a little surprise for you at the end, but.
Well, you know what? This is actually, you're going to have to do a really good job of outlining this trial because there's two different sites that this is going on and there's several different years now. So you'll have to lay this out pretty clear.
We're going to lay it out. So this is again, going with the theme of retro, having Jeff back in here, we've got trials that were set in place
2023.
Yeah, 23. And, I think it's great. You've seen the progression through and then give you some results. And we'll kind of chat about this a little bit more. So our deep phosphorus trial, that was set up. And we did have another podcast episode on this, I think last season or even two. But as a recap, what did we do in this treatments, in these trials?
In 2023.
In 2023, let's go back to 23.
Correct.
We had replicated in a field. We had a chunk laid out. So we had a control where we did nothing. Just a strip.
Seeded like we normally would seed. That was the control.
Well, let's say we're going east and west here. The control, east and west. Okay. And then we did a working only where we worked a strip going east and west. Okay. Or strips. And then we did a deep application of phosphorus. So one-time application of phosphorus at 100 pounds of actual P2O5. So it was 100 or 200, over
close
200
to 200 pounds,
ish of MAP 1152. So we did that strips replicated, going east and west. And then we had a broadcast. So I had that same applicator. I just lifted it up and just broadcast that same amount on the
100 pounds of actual broadcast.
Yeah, B205 going on the ground. So going east and west. So then in 23, we came back and you seed it north and south. So crossways to those strips. Okay, that's important to understand. And also the fact that we just seeded normal. So we're still putting down our normal rates of phosphorus, all the nitrogen, nothing different. So that's how we got our control. Right? Because we were just seeding normal crossways and so let the crop grow up. So that was canola, 23. Harvest those east-west strips.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it would be so cool if we actually weren't sitting here doing a podcast and we had some kind of video so we could actually show the picture of what it looked like because it was absolutely freaking amazing.
Well, I thought my hand gestures could have showed it too there, but
I can see what you're doing, but but nobody else out there can. So
trials going in east-west, seeded north-south, harvested east and west on those strips. Okay. Canola that year in 23, big response to deep applied phosphorus. So that was again an additional phosphorus, right? Because we had put down phos on all these strips, but up to the tune of like almost 7 bushels over our control. So it was like, wow.
Yeah.
That year, dry year. Talk about stratification. We're not going to jump into that, but there's access of phosphorus deeper down in the soil profile where there was still moisture so that the canola could still take up that phosphorus. And what we saw was a phosphorus response. Really neat. Broadcast, there's a little bit from that one as well.
Actually, broadcast had a lot more of an impact than I thought it would.
Yeah, it was like almost 4 bushels. So phos doesn't move very far in the soil, but it does move a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So now next year, 2024 comes around. That was last year. I guess depends whenever we're listening to this, but this was in 2024. The wheat was grown in 2024.
It just did good.
We're all in the 90s, basically. However, the deep phos actually had a little bit lower, not statistically different. And same with the broadcast. It was almost exact mirror of the canola. And I think if you look at that, 7 bushels of canola, that's a lot of moisture taken out of that soil profile the year previous. So maybe we were seeing a little bit of a moisture difference that year, potentially.
Well, if you do the math on that,
that's
there's a few inches of moisture less.
Oh, I did do the math on that. You have to listen to the other episode. I think I laid it all out, but definitely a couple inches
It
less.
would explain some things, yes.
Potentially. Okay, so now, 2025, latest one. Again, no additional application of deep Phos. We're still just using those same strips seeded east and west.
We're still working off of 2023's application.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We're just seeing if there's any residual that follows through. Again, seeded north and south across those strips with our regular fertility package going down. So still getting phosphorus in there. What did we find in canola this year? Control was, I'll just say it, 56.2 bushels. That deep application of phosphorus was actually 60.3.
And
it was a significant difference there.
Statistically significant.
Yeah, basically 4 bushels difference. Broadcast technically was the highest, 60.8 bushels of that. So that broadcast we did in 2023 bumped up. Interesting enough, the working only actually showed a little bit of a difference there as well.
I think that's really interesting. It kind of violates some of the rules that, we were always told, like broadcast P, totally inefficient way of applying phosphate.
Yep.
Maybe knowing that you can get a statistically significant difference by broadcast may have some other applications where, alfalfa seed growers are always short of P.
Yep.
There's a number of different things, knowing full well that if you broadcast P, you could get a response.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think. It's showing almost like a timeline too, where it didn't show up that very first year as much, a little bit, but then all of a sudden you get years down the road, a few more years, all of a sudden it's like, well, you know what? It's still there. Yeah, and it's still kind of moving through. So yes, again, that is a very good, like you say, good thing to know or realize, or maybe you can use those results.
So on this ground, next year?
Yeah. I don't know what we're going to seed on it yet.
No?
Honestly, I don't know.
To be announced.
I mean, we went canola, wheat, canola. I mean, obviously the next one should be wheat, I guess. And
I just wasn't
good
sure
rotation.
If you're gonna continue this program or if you're gonna move on, because I know you started at another site.
Yes. Well, we are going to continue with this one. I just don't know a crop. I would love to get a pulse in there to see what a pulse does.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be very cool. Gosh, peas are just they like to die, and they're tough.
We have an issue with phanomyces in our area.
And rocks, and it's just a tough one. Fava beans, again, those are also great fit for the area, but tough market.
Tough market.
Yeah, although peas aren't sitting great right now. Anyway, something will go on there. We will continue that side on, but you're right. We had a second site started in 2024. Call it the same scenario where the treatments went in east and west and seeded north and south. So we went crossways.
With a slight difference though.
We had just phosphorus as part of that. One of the comments was, well, did you ever put an additional nitrogen to account for that extra 20 pounds or whatever it was of nitrogen going down? So we said, no, we didn't do it in that year. Or in that site, but we added into this one. So we had a control, we had working only. So I just wanted to see what happens if you move the soil around. Then we did do a little deep nitrogen, one time only shot, right? This is all done in 2024 of 20 pounds. And then we had our deep Phos like we had. We added something different into this though, along the lines of nutrient stratification and nutrients that maybe don't move as much in the soil. We had, potassium or potash, applied potash at depth.
Yeah. Phosphate's actually really interesting to see on a soil profile as far as stratification goes, but K is equally as
it shows that same soil test higher above, and as you go deeper, it goes less. If your moisture gradient starts to go down in the soil, well, it reduces at the top, right? So then you don't get access to those nutrients that are up higher. And when I say deep, I should clarify this just to bring it back in. Deep, we were about 5 inches deep.
Yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt as well.
As deep as our applicator would go.
Correct. Or as practical, I would say, almost in a certain way. Anyway, so then we have deep Phos, we have deep potash. Then we had deep phosphorus and potash together as one. Is there a difference there? And we did the same thing now with the broadcast. We broadcast Phos, we broadcast potash, and we broadcast Phos and potash. Okay, so quite a bit more extensive.
It's a significant trial, yeah.
Yes.
Now to the results, Curtis.
To the results. 2024, so we had wheat on there that year. So it was the same field, just different areas or other place as our other trials here. So we had wheat on there. Pretty big yields that year again. Again, it showed there's some variation in there. You can look it up on the website.
Everything did good though.
Everything was 83 to 89 kind of thing. Not real big. I'd never found a big. What's the word I'm looking for?
A gotcha kind of.
Yeah, or
nothing stood out.
Yeah, nothing that kind of went along in the same lines. Kind of followed a trend. That's the word I was looking for.
I think if you look at the difference between P and K, broadcast or banded or anything like that, I think you definitely got a Phos response, and you didn't get as big a response to potassium.
Well, in the wheat year, yeah, it was kind of all over the board. But now let's go to 2025 when we had canola seeded across those strips.
Yeah.
Okay. That's when we saw the deep Phos show up again. Right? So deep Phos alone, boom, 65 bushel, whereas the control was 62 bushels. Or 61.6, right? So it was
6, yeah.
Anytime we did deep potash or deep potassium, never really spiked up at all. But when we did deep Phos and potash it went up again a little bit more, right? Up to 64.2. And even the broadcast on PK showed up a little bit there as well. So I think we were seeing just a phosphorus.
It's more of a P response than a K response. Yeah.
So what kind of year was it this year? We said that first year in 23 was really dry. This year actually started off really dry, thinking, okay, well, this is going to be another year like that. We did end up getting some pretty decent yields in general. Our rainfall did get up a little bit more than 2023. So was it a dry year all year? No. It was dry in the spring, but then we did get some.
There was 6 weeks of hell because it didn't rain all of May and the first part of June.
Yeah.
Never has that ever happened here. And then the tap turned on, and there was a time there where guys couldn't even decide whether they were going to spray something as simple as MCPA to control.
Weeds weren't growing.
There was nothing growing.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted their crop that they had. And the next thing you know, man, it's a miracle actually how it turned out. Somebody was looking down on us from above to give us what we got. And I think everyone should be very appreciative of that. But
there were some big yields out there.
Big.
Yeah. In canola, and actually surprising cereals were probably the biggest surprise because they usually don't respond well to a dry spring.
Yeah.
But they came through like crazy. So point being, we did see a Phos response this year to deeper phosphorus. And yeah, this is kind of an ongoing trial. And again, it would be great to have some kind of a pulse in there. But yeah, we'll see moving forward.
Well, maybe the world will fix itself and there'll be money in growing peas again, and we could do that.
Well,
I don't know, but
if you can make that happen into your retail,
time will tell.
Yeah, we can do it. But that'd be great too. Money wise, though, talking about money, did it make sense to apply that big rate early in 2023? So on our first trial, at the end of the day, with application and cost of product, it was basically a wash. We got like 7 bushel difference economics wise at that time for price and price of canola, basically a wash.
Yeah, you actually factored in a cost for the working even.
Yep.
Like it's
there's a cost to put it in.
It was a true comparison.
Yeah. And so now being that 3 years later, there's a bit of a bump. I guess call that gravy, right? So say 4 bushels at whatever it is now, $13 or whatever. That's starting to maybe pay back a little bit. So yeah. It's kind of a long game on that side of it.
Well, that's the whole purpose of that exercise, is a long-term payoff. So I guess we'll find out over time whether it paid or not.
Yep. Keep tracking it. Cool. Okay. So that's our Phos, and so they're in place. They'll be in there again next year for the deep Phos, and we'll kind of see where all that goes. And again, this all kind of came from that whole split application between banders and seed row, right? That was the initial question, was why are we seeing this response in canola with putting some Phos in the banders? Is it because it was deeper, or is there 2 feeding sites? Okay. Well, there's another thing. There's another way to apply phosphorus.
Tell me more.
Yes, this is some cool plans. First time I think you're going to hear about this one. In Australia, they have a system that a lot of people use. It's like a deep knife, basically going down deep. They've used our drills for that before. They've modified our existing units, trying to go down like 5-6 inches deep, maybe even deeper.
Isn't it, like we have the single knife and the PLX and everything? Isn't it a DKD knife? Or DK whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it is called.
We seeded wheat with it 1 year.
Yes, the 4420. So we have a 4420 that goes to Australia. That was more designed for exactly what they're trying to accomplish. And so why are they trying to go deeper in Australia, you might ask? And it's an interesting one because a lot of places in Australia you think of, it's very dry. Like, why would you want to move soil? Wouldn't you want to no-till? Well, there's two reasons. And they're kind of different areas, right? So they have in Western Australia, right, they've got the non-wetting soils. So you were over in Australia. I was over in Australia at one point. Yep. At that point in my life, and I think yours too, I don't know if we're really looking at agriculture too much.
It's a little foggy period. I can't really comment.
Okay, can't comment on exactly what we were looking at, but we weren't looking at non-wetting soils.
No.
I can almost guarantee that.
No.
So what is that? It's almost like a sandy, waxy, it just physically cannot, moisture, A, can't penetrate, B, can't really hold on. So if you seed into that, well, there's just no moisture to germinate. So what do? They move it up and out of the way, and they do have really nice clay underneath, and they kind of bring that up so that you seed into that essentially.
It lets the moisture in.
It lets the moisture in, gets your seed into something that actually has moisture for it to germinate. And I hope I'm saying that right. If anyone's listening on that, they can call me out, but that's one reason.
That's what I was told. Yeah.
First knife goes deep, kind of moves that non-wetting soil out of the way. The second knife slides in.
In line.
That's another cool feature with that drill. And on the eastern side, and again, there's probably areas, but rhizoctonia, they physically have to move the rhizoctonia in the soil out of the way, because if you were to seed into that, it just
dies.
Yeah. So they kind of two different reasons, but both with a mechanical way to fix it is just to get down deeper into that soil. So we've got that 4420.
And they run that deep too.
And they do run deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've heard up to they're trying to go 6-7 inches deep.
Yeah. We didn't do that here because we have stones.
Yeah, so we have many stones here. There's probably reasons.
We did go deep. Mm-hmm. We did pick stones.
So maybe if you're looking for a part-time job next year, we're gonna get a 4420 back.
Oh,
yes, it's gonna come. We're gonna get one here, a domestic one, a deep knife with the purpose of testing it here, more so on the deeper placement of nutrients, of phosphorus, right? Mm-hmm. As well as just, you rip down a little deeper, it's just easier access for roots to get down. I don't know for sure how it's going to work with our soils and stuff on, destroying the whole seed bed, right? And then actually getting the seed into something that can get up and growing kind of thing. We're going to try it though. Mm-hmm. We got to start building that database, right? And I know that we're going to be hopefully moving that thing around to different producers here in the area that want to try out some stuff. So along the lines of, deep phosphorus, we do have another drill that we're going to be able to play with that.
Mm-hmm. That's exciting, actually.
Yeah.
I've got a whole bunch of things whistling around in my head right now, yeah.
Well, would you like to let us in on any of them at the moment? Initial thoughts?
Well, I was just thinking, if you use that in an application in some of these saltier areas in the field, those are impermeable areas. Sometimes salts settle on the surface just because they have no way to leach down into the ground. If you broke up a solonetzik layer or whatever else just to let the water leach some of that salt, maybe you could do something there.
Well, yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's something we got to look into. Tilling salt areas usually isn't the best.
Yeah.
Salt, what'd you say? Solonetzik?
Solonetzik.
Solonetzik. This is going to sound bad. What's the ones with, you get the little columns can build up, and the guys in the areas that have these soils down below, they're going to be laughing, but they'll know what I'm talking about. But basically,
I'm pretty sure you're talking about solonetzik.
Is it solonetzik? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a little mini compaction layer. Underneath, and you got to break that.
You got to break it physically, and so that's where one application where this could work in those soils, right? Yeah. It's all the other soil types. Is there a benefit? Is there not? Maybe there is areas where, like you say, maybe in salt areas, we'll try it. Yeah, we'll try a mechanical thing, and we'll see what happens. So. That's what kind of we got on the go for trying out next year when it comes down this evolution of, split Phos between seed and bander into deep application of Phos now to another opener or another drill that just applies a little bit deeper where the seed row is.
I don't know. Long term, addressing Phos stratification, I think it could be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at time of seeding, there's not an extra pass for going deep.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna try it. So
get 2 birds stoned at once, just like Ricky says.
Well, we're gonna do it.
There you go.
Do what Ricky says. There it is.
Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
I'm gonna end it right there then. That's a perfect sign off on it. So our deep Phos trials, the results, we'll get the stuff online. You can take a look. There was a response this year, and we've got a couple cool things looking forward to future years.
Excellent.
Thanks for coming in, Jeff.
Once again, thank you for having me, Curtis.